Hey, do you feel like you're 13 again and you're in junior high school?
No, I feel like I'm almost 40 and I'm making bad life decisions. Welcome to Carcaine Rehab. We've got too many project cars. Try to get as many of my cars and Ashley's cars back on the road as possible. Today's the day. All right, welcome back to Carcaine Rehab. I guess this is season 2, 2019, and unfortunately, I had planned to get this done, which is not. This is running, but not really as far done as I wanted to. That still needs to get done. And then rail car, which is like back hidden over here, is pretty far from being done. But I did sell some vehicles. I did get some things done that I did say I was gonna do. But 2019, try again. It's the whole thing about rehab is you just keep doing it and doing it. It becomes your life. But I did make a bet.
So the bet is by January 1st, all of his cars need to be running, except for the ones that are selling, and those need to be gone. Now, if this isn't accomplished, one of us has to pay the other person
$500. And whoever loses has to frost their tips for a month.
I did sell 3 cars. I sold my 29, I sold my F350, and I sold an Audi 4000 that I was kind of hiding away. I also may have acquired another project, which was a Opel Manta A, which was a step backwards. And I got that running, as I said I would, but I didn't get that running. And I didn't get to any of the other projects that I was gonna get to. So joining us today is my sister-in-law, who has come here to frost the tips. So let's get that started, and then we can actually work on cars, because after all, that's why you're watching Project Channel, right? Let the embarrassment begin.
You look so cute.
A bet's a bet. I told you I'd do it.
Hey, do you feel like you're 13 again and you're in junior high school?
No, I feel like I'm almost 40 and I'm making bad life decisions. All right, well, as you can see, I paid for my 2018 sins. I said I was gonna get a bunch of stuff done on my cars. I didn't. Ashley and I made a really stupid, but yet really smart investment, which is we bought a house. And it's cool, except it's a project house. Yeah, you could say, is it Brian's, does it home? And it doesn't. So we've been busy working on that because it's the only house we have, and things like toilets didn't work. So that became a priority. We were back to a point where it no longer feels like we're camping in our house. And we're time to get back to work on all these projects. We're gonna work on the Audi today. And the reason we're gonna work on the Audi is because while I got it running, there's a lot of just things I wanna fix before I beat the crap out of it, which is things like it has a 10-year-old timing belt. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna get back on the Rover. Let's dig into the Audi. First up is the timing belt. And for anyone who knows anything about Audis, means I have to put it into what is called the service position. Basically a euphemism for saying taking the whole front end off the car. It's super annoying, but the good thing is I actually have a whole Euro front end. There's a little carbon hood hanging out back there, hella headlights, and I've also got an S2 bumper that's hidden up on the rafters. All right, activate time lapses. I'm gonna take the whole front end off with the realization that I'm gonna put a different front end on it. It'll be kind of a mix and match until I get the car painted. Before we get too far ahead, let's consult the book. So, as you guys might remember from last season, we did all this last time, bolt drive shaft. I need to reconnect the ABS, but I don't need to do it ASAP. I bled the brakes, I bled the clutch, I removed the handbrake cables. I need to flush the cooling system. I got it to temp. I gotta change the hoses, timing belts. I'm gonna spanner check it again. And then some other things over here. I got a tie rod in that's bad, that was stripped. I gotta replace that. I gotta replace one of the brake bolts in the back, it's too short. Secure battery, yeah, I gotta do that too. Torque lugs. Eyeball alignment, I'm actually hoping that the folks from Wonderliner can come in here, hopefully this week maybe, or next week, and get this thing aligned, because that would be rad. All right, so here's everything that I got from FCP Euro. Timing belt, water pump, because once you're doing the timing belt, you might as well do the water pump. You're already in there. I plan to flush the cooling system. I got the good old Volkswagen Audi G13, which is the recommended coolant. I've got myself a new fan switch, got myself a thermostat, got myself the rest of the V-belts, brand new crispy clean tank. Didn't really need to do that, but it looks so much nicer than that really gross yellow one that's right there. New idler, a new oil cap, which I guess we can put that on right now. Oh man, that looks a little frothy in there. It's probably not great. Boom. Well, it wouldn't be working on an Audi if at some point I didn't have to drill out a rusted bolt or screw or some sort of weird fastening device that the Germans thought was a good idea. So let's get to it. I popped out the bypass that they had built for removing the auxiliary. Kind of homemade, as you can see. The coolant is a nice green color, which for most cars is fine, but in Audis and Volkswagens, depending on the year, it's probably supposed to be more like an orangey pink kind of color. This is G13, definitely not green. The reason is just the stuff that's in the coolant, that in the green coolant can actually corrode the engine. I'm gonna swap that out one step further, or one step closer, I should say. Busted out the extractor set. As you can see, this thing rounded out pretty well. I tried to use an easy out and the metal was so brittle, it just drilled out of an even bigger hole. Let's find the right one of these, bang that in there and take it out. And like that, voila. The old timing belt's off, popped the water pump out. I started to clean that up a little bit just to give it a better seal. Believe it or not, this doesn't come off easily without removing the cam gear, so I just kind of bent it out of the way. Time to put it all back together now. Oh yeah, I already gave some blood, which is always important for a good project. So this is where this tool comes in handy. This, with a 3/4 inch adapter, goes in here, and that is basically your torque multiplier. Unfortunately, this one only goes to 150 pounds. I need it to get to about 280. I'm gonna snug it down now and find another torque wrench from somebody, because it's pretty important that this gets torqued all the way. So I got the new timing belt on. New water pump on. I need to torque this. I don't have the right thing to torque it with, so I'm gonna call it a night. On to tomorrow. So I had to bring in the bigger torque wrench, and I also had to bring in an extra arm, because this requires like 330 pounds of torque. So, yeah. Ready? Oh, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're doing.
Way to go.
Thanks. I torqued this down, had Zach give me a hand. Now I'm gonna just tighten this up. The water pump needs to be tensioned. This line right here is really important because you wanna be able to get the timing belt, the number of teeth. That's actually what does the timing. So you wanna make sure everything is set. This locks this thing into TDC. That's our TDC mark on the cam. This should be the mark where it's at. You can see it's slightly off, but it's slightly off because this is still loose. Now I'm gonna tension this up and then adjust everything, make sure that we're TDC here, there, and then I'm gonna do the old fashioned pop a spark plug and actually make sure with a screwdriver that we are at TDC. Everything looks good because with this motor, since it's interference, we make a mistake, the motor don't work no more because the valves meet in a very violent way with the pistons. Yeah. If you can choose to have someone else do this, just let someone else do this, especially on Audis, because it's a lot of work for something that doesn't actually make your car more fun or faster. It's just a maintenance item. All right, so since some of these runs through an oil galley, I'm just gonna put a little bit of sealant on it, which will just prevent any leaks. Now it's time to tension this thing up. Because everyone's told me to just use a pry bar to pry it somewhere, so now I'm just find a place to put a pry bar. Realize you're just prying the water pump which sits inside the housing. You want this to be able to still turn 90 degrees, even a little bit more. Some people argue that you actually want it to go all the way to full 120. I'm just gonna cinch this up. From everything that I've been told and read, you don't want it super tight. So you want a little bit of movement. And that's sort of so it stays in track. You don't put too much tension on anything. Just gonna torque these up to 15, which is what it calls for. I probably use a torque wrench more than I need to, but I don't know. When I was a kid, I never used torque wrenches because I couldn't afford them. And now I got a couple torque wrenches. So now I'm gonna pop a spark plug, drop a screw in the first cylinder, and make sure that I'm still at TDC. I'm also gonna rotate this a few times and just make sure there's no resistance, because if there's any level of resistance here, it's probably because a valve is hitting something. We don't want that. It doesn't look too bad. I mean, it hasn't ran much. It's only really ran here in the building, but it looks all right. So we're just gonna spin this just to see around where top dead center is. So this should go down or up. So that was up. That goes back down. That should be top dead center. So as you can see, I have two marks here. One was I marked the cam belt, but this is the actual TDC mark. And we are spot on. Not that I plan on doing much with this motor other than driving it for a few months until I build that, but it would suck to pop this thing. All right, now let's put the rest of the tins back on, throw on the belts, reconnect everything, do the hoses, start it back up. I made the realization that my air conditioning doesn't work. I'm not gonna bother putting the belt back on, but I'm just gonna put just the alternator on. No reason to have the extra drag just spinning the pulley. So even when this car ran years ago, this was always an issue. This is what puts tension on this, keeps the belt tight. And I think this would just vibrate itself loose or something. I'm also gonna check the other motor I have and see if I've got a better one of these on it. And like that, voila, clean parts from the other motor. Look how much nicer that is. That right there is the difference between East Coast and West Coast parts. Gonna change this out. Oh. I'm gonna drill a hole in it, and I'm gonna try to use this extractor kit I grabbed from Home Depot. Ideally, if I had a left-hand drill bit, meaning one that screws in with counterclockwise rotation, screwing it that way may actually rotate it and loosen it, but I don't have that, so I'm just gonna put a little hole in there, then grab this, and this is actually left-handed thread. Can't wait till I replace all the East Coast rustiness out of this and make it all great West Coast, simple oxidation, no major rust. Center punch this actually first. Just give it a quick tap right here. Hope to find the center here. Help guide this in. See if we can back it out with this. All right, so another broken bolt. As you can see, drilled it out and put the extractor in there. Hopefully we can back that out. Well, to complicate things, the extractor broke. Fun, hate you car. Since the extractor didn't work, it's time to bring out the bigger guns. Being the welder, I'm gonna weld this to what's left and see if I can back that out. Well, there's a little bit there. See if I can get it to sit and just throw a little bit of weld inside, and I don't know. I feel like this still isn't gonna work. It's not getting enough on there. right, so I brought in an actual professional. I don't think I'm certified to weld that nut because I did it 3 times and it failed every time.
Don't thank me yet. You want to take it out and extract it when it's still hot, but you don't want to do it before it doesn't have a chance to cool down, or you crack it immediately.
So once it's not red anymore.
It's not red anymore, but if we turn the lights off, it's red.
Once it completely cools, we lose all the advantage of making the heat we get from there. Oh, yeah, same thing happened to me. All right, so Dan had about as much luck as I did. So now we're gonna go with a bigger nut so that we can try to get a little bit more weld in there and grab what's left of that. Oh.
All right, and I also made you a new bolt. So.
Voila. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Well, I didn't really get as much done as I was hoping. Got the timing belt done. The next couple episodes, I'm gonna continue to thrash on getting this thing really track ready. Once it's back out on the road, it's all about getting the suspension and that stuff dialed. And then after that, it's about this. And that is an Audi 3B 20 valve turbo motor. When removing that, it fell after tumbling, not once, not twice, but 3 times out of the bed and onto the hard concrete. Sort of made this block useless. Luckily, my buddy Broken Quattros sent me another block that he had in storage, and as you can see, it says, "Don't drop me, Scotto." Figure it's gonna be like 3 or 4 more episodes, and then we're gonna move on to this. The motor's in. It needs some piping. It needs some wiring. It needs some other cooling. It needs some things like the transfer case to be connected to the shifter. I don't know, that's probably like 4 episodes. After these 2, it's about getting onto the Nova. I love that car, I really do. When we built that car for Power Tour, we built it in 65 days, and when I say 65 days, I really mean 65 nights, because I was working during the day, and at night, every night, just like I built these cars, I would start at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and I would work as long as I possibly could. Because it was rushed, and we cut so many corners, it's kind of one of those cars that I love, because it's really one of the first cars where I built every single piece of it. And it had the car torn down to a total shell. It bothers me because I know everything I did wrong. And every time I drive it, one of those things I did wrong rears its ugly head. So one of the big things this year will be not just fixing the cooling system, which is the immediate thing, but going through there, righting all the wrongs. Next, rail car. Rail car is hidden back there. You want to talk about rail car? Because I don't. Because I'm not going to get it done for the March race with the Race of Gentlemen's in Santa Barbara, which is basically in my own backyard instead of going all the way back to New Jersey. And it annoys me, but I'm just trying to be realistic instead of optimistic this year. Because let's be honest, optimism is what got me there. This will be a new year. The Rolls Royce, it's not actually mine. While it was built for a Discovery Channel show that I was a part of, that belongs to the company. That's not really totally my worry, although it kind of is my worry. That's something that we have to do. That's a we thing. So let's see what else we have left. Oh, we have Ashley's cars. So the 944, which I know a lot of you want to see done. I want to see it done. But as I said at the beginning of the film, we just bought a house, and one of the things about a house is that you need a truck, and we sold Cole Truckle, and our F100, while it is the most reliable steed, I feel like it's about to run out of its reliability good luck run. Trying to be proactive, I'm gonna try to fix that before it blows up and leaves us without a truck, which kind of leaves us boned. That's about it. Oh yeah, there's the Opal. I won't touch the Opal until all of these things are properly running. Fair deal? Yeah, I think it's a fair deal. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh yeah, that's it!
But there's actually better content on this channel, like Garage and other build shows that we do. And Brian directs Gymkhana, so he does carcaine rehab, and he doesn't really do a lot, but he films it better than me. Tune back in, subscribe, like, comment, watch the videos, do the thing, and we'll continue to build cars, because that's the name of the channel. That's it, man. I don't know what else to say.